Yep, had to talk to the neighbor for a moment. So this is part two. Because new phone and couldn't find the pause button. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, turns out fun is just as much work as work is. It tends to be more expensive, and you don't really have much to show for it. Uh, but work uh, can be just as much fun as fun, and hopefully you get some benefit out the other end if you did the work right. Once again, arguable. I can't say for sure that that's going to be the case, but I hope. And so I go saw up boards and tear apart decks and all that good stuff, and I got my podcast going, and it's a beautiful blue sky with a nice temperature, and okay, I'm sweating a little bit, and sometimes I hit my fingers with a hammer and all that good stuff, but it feels real. Where so much of what I did for earning a living throughout my life never quite felt real. It always felt Twilight Zone. There's something about being able to work a period of time. Time passes. Your body feels tired, but in a good way. And you can point back and look at something. And through 5 decades of IT work, every damn thing that I put in, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, got removed, thrown away in a landfill, and replaced with another piece of technology that was going to be thrown away and put in a landfill. Or, God forbid, carted all the way across the ocean in a ship so that poor Indians and villages can poison themselves by burning piles of this shit and try and scrape the valuable metals out. Boy, isn't that an abomination. Welcome to the 21st century. So, I know this is just, my mind playing silly buggers with myself. Ultimately, nothing's real, everything's real. Yeah, you can take both sides of this. But operating in the physical world, moving your body around, being out in the sun, those are important things. And I was thinking, what a mindfuck we've done to younger people these days, because with every few years going forward, we make it harder and harder for younger people to own things, and we come up with these more and more addictive activities and technologies and such to take them more and more away from the out here, the real world, and from each other, and isolate them. And instead of spending your time so much forming bonds with people, you're forming bonds with technology. And the funny thing is, the technology doesn't care. The Xbox isn't your friend. The weird intermediary of social media, yeah, that feels like you're talking to people, but no, you're talking with a small aspect of people or bots, or I don't know. It's that filter. You're not really dealing with the person. You're dealing with an abstraction of the person. You wonder why people seem to be getting more and more mentally ill, being more and more disconnected and isolated from reality, or from the real physical world and real physical activities, into this artificial environment and artificial construct. On one side, very liberating. In the world of the virtual, you can be anything. But it's playing the Zen trick again. I mean, if you can be anything, then you're actually nothing. Picking a side, coalescing into a thing in a direction, with a finite set of limitations, has great emotional value. Pick a side, and I see so much in the world with people so confused, so indecisive. What's right? What side is the right side to be on? Which side of the argument is the right side? And You're supposed to make very complicated decisions off of extremely manipulated information. Uh, or put differently, lies. You're being fed lies. uh, me being a moderate, I like to think that what I'm doing is curating a bunch of different opinions, and trying to find the middle ground between them, to get closest to reality. But what's the midpoint of two extreme lies? Lie. um, you're at the point now, I think, where if you're trying to make sense of the world and you want to get closest to the reality, you got to turn off the machines and go interact with it, and touch it, speak to it, bleed with it. Don't trust the thing that's coming through the screen, because it's been manipulated. You're only seeing it because it plays to a particular agenda that a certain group wants you to believe. Like me. Apparently, I'm a artificial intelligent construct created by the CIA to manipulate you. Yeah. Hope I'm doing a good job. No, this is me rambling on a Sunday. call it my Sunday sermon. But was there a point? Oh, yes, there was a point. The getting people so involved in the world of the virtual is a great way of distracting them and making them forget their agency in the actual. And this, was it, you'll own nothing and be happy? Well, there are certain advantages to, lease, not own, et cetera, et cetera. But to be, I can't think of a better way of being manipulated than to take away all of your sense of ownership, sense of agency. Everything becomes an end-user licensing agreement, a contract, and then, of course, the end of the contract. With any contract you've ever signed, what it basically says, and obviously, the only reason why it's 92 pages long is because they don't want you to read it. But, in the end game, it basically says, we have the right to do anything, you have the right to just pay. That's it. We can change at will anything that we want, and you're absolutely obligated to the hilt to whatever it is we decide. No one in their right mind actually signs up for that, but yet we do all the time, because we don't get the thing unless you sign the agreement. We're signing our lives away. We have signed our lives away. But the neat thing about fuck all contracts like that is they only hold power if you choose to believe they hold power. This is the dark trick of reality, is when you're incarnated into this world, the rules are the rules of nature and physics. Get enough calories to keep from dying, stay out of the rain, try not to catch a nasty disease or get eaten by a bear. Gravity's a real thing. No, you can't leap off a cliff and flap your arms and fly. Good luck trying. And all the other stuff, speed limit signs and social mores and ethics and which god is the right one to pray to, that's all made up. That's all constructs of the human mind. And the funny thing about the laws is, if everyone stops following the laws, quits being a law. I mean, in reality, you're not put on this planet to be a data point. You are not put on this planet to be revenue stream. Your name is not consumer. Your reason for existence is not to add positive percentage points to GDP. And chasing little green pieces of paper, and while we all play make-believe that the little green pieces of paper mean something, that's the whole point of existence, is a really dumb idea. And over the next few years, I expect more and more people are going to realize that when their ability to get those little green pieces of paper goes bye-bye, which, artificial intelligence and robotics is going to do in dramatically shocking speed. These technologies are advancing at a level I would have bet any sum of money I have in the bank that the things I'm seeing now wouldn't be possible for a century, or at least long after I was dead. And now here they are. They're being vomited up on a day-to-day basis. Now, is it as advanced as they're making out to be? Oh, hell no. There's a lot of hype. Robots are still really just kind of fancy puppets at the moment. I mean, that's great that they stand upright now and they don't fall over too often. And very, 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 very slowly they can pick up a bag and hand it to someone after thousands of hours of training and telepresence to intervene when it goofs. It look when you get behind the scenes of it, it seems like a laughable parlor trick, a Mechanical Turk. Now, but you'd be a fool to think that that's how it's going to stay for very long. Over the next couple of years, how fast this stuff gets vomited up into reality and changes everything is going to be eye-popping. And yeah, it might be a puppet now, but it will be very, very sophisticated in very short order. The point being is all the things that like my generation I was told, the program that I was set into my head about what I was supposed to be doing with my life, what its purpose was, and all that good stuff, which was basically work myself to death to get little green pieces of paper so I could buy increasingly more expensive toys that I don't have time to use and I'm too frustrated and neurotic to enjoy, until I get to drop dead and then give it all to my kids who stopped talking to me when they were 17 because they hate me. I bypassed all of that by spending most of my life being economically stupid and poor and not having kids. So, check mark on the positive side for me. But if there's one thing I get from all the smart people that talk about AI, and the last one I was listening to was Geoffrey Hinton. If you don't know who he is, go Google him. He's not exactly uneducated economist. He's not some guy with a GED that's doing a video in his car. Him and Emad Mustak and other very articulate people. I think they make the point of human labor is being decoupled from the economy. Robotic labor will take its place. It will because it's ultimately cheaper. In the short run, it's going to be a clusterfuck because, just like electric cars now, the technology isn't quite there. The math doesn't pencil out. Right now, an electric car does more damage to the environment and is more expensive than a gas car. But that doesn't mean it stays that way. The technology is advancing quickly, and eventually it will make good on all the promises that it has. Right at the moment, it's a little bit of a boondoggle. But, they're saying that, with robotic labor, well, the cost of products will deflate. But human ability to participate in the labor economy, exchanging labor for, green pieces of paper so you can buy things, that's going to go bye-bye for a lot of people. And, there's a lot of people that are talking about guaranteed minimum income and social safety net and all that good stuff. And, I may have it wrong, but what I get from history is basically that the smart people that are able to plot out a path and go, okay, here's potential problems. Here's what happens if we follow the dark path and allow this to unfold like it looks like it will naturally. And here's some solutions, and we need to be looking at the solutions. And it seems like we always pick the dark path. No one wants to do the solution, just like nobody wants to do minimum basic maintenance. They want to wait until it's destroyed and then let someone else deal with it. And that's what I expect is probably going to happen. The worst case scenario is what's going to be. And you're not going to stop it. You're not going to slow it down. Because very powerful people with very specific ideas of how they think they want the future to be. Techno-feudalism is a word that's used a lot. Is how it's mostly going to go. But there will be a small percentage of the people that are going to be ejected out of that system that I think are kind of like me. The ones that realize, oh, okay, damage was done, everything's destroyed, now it's time to do the hard work and remove the rot and build something else and try and survive. And you can look at that as a negative thing, or you can think of it as a sense of purpose and vocation. This can be a fun process, just like doing stupid stuff like this is actually kind of fun if you do it right and if you have people to do it with. People who listen to me believe I'm a doomer. It's all going to be awful. We're all going to die horribly. I don't know where they get that idea. That's never been what I've advocated. I like to think I'm being more of a realist. I'll leave that up to you, whoever you are listening to this. I believe that ultimately, as the Kabbalah would say, it's all for the good. It doesn't mean it's not a painful process. There will be discomfort. There will be tears. A lot of horrible things will happen. And I think we will all be better for it out the other side. But, the pain has to happen. The rot must take its course, and the rebuilding will happen. The thing that matters is being active in the process. Sitting back and letting other people decide all the fate of things and going, well, what power do I have? I don't want to get involved. I don't want to engage my ego, attach my ego to these things because I don't want to be wrong. And it's too difficult to pick out what the truth is. No way to be. No way to be. If you stand back and watch, you are passively making happen what's happening. Be engaged in the world. Pick a side. Learn. Yeah, you're probably going to be wrong. When you figure it out that you're wrong, change sides. No one really has a right to be a passive participant in this ride. Me as Supreme Slumlord of Kern Valley, hereby empower you to have all the control over your life that you always did, but you made yourself believe that you handed it off to other people, that you signed some contracts and signed away your right, and now you must abide by that hokey pokey contract. No, you don't. Tear the contract up. Go, nope. Yeah, I know what I signed. Fuck you. You lied. I lied too. Next. And start clawing back control and agency over your life. I hope I hope that we get some point where younger people have the opportunity to own things, and to feel like they have a stake in the world rather than just kind of riding along in someone else's car, um, towards a destination that they are not allowed to decide. uh, and I think, if there's anything the older generations could do that might massively help out the younger ones, is give them opportunities to own things, to participate in real things. This weird shit that the boomer generations have of, let's buy up everything and then put a padlock on it and then not allow anyone to use it and then let it rot. Because he who manages to drag all the assets into the grave with him wins. No, I mean, I live in a small town, here, Bodfish and Lake Isabella, and I think 3/4 of the buildings that are on the main drag, what used to be retail businesses, are empty. They've been empty for 10 years. Somebody owns them. Someone's paying, the taxes on them and the electric bill and all that good stuff. Where in your right mind does it become a good idea to let that stuff sit there and rot? To put a lock on it and not lease it, not allow anyone to use it, not sell it. Just sit on it and let it decay and let it be a blight. It drags everyone down. It demoralizes the entire town because all you see is boarded up shops. And, there should be a law against that kind of shit. There are plenty of young people that, we hear about, there's not enough entrepreneurial spirit anymore. Everyone, or those that do, it's, passive income, just invest in Bitcoin. Now, there are a lot of people out there that, young people that have the energy and want to try small businesses, and they don't have the chance. The barrier to entry is so high, they can't even consider such a thing. And why is it so high? Because it's been made artificially high by a bunch of old assholes that want to hold on to everything and not let anyone else play with the toys. Someone needs to pry those assets out from the dying fingers of these people and liberate them so that people have a chance to go experiment. Running a business, really, really hard. Success rate, really, really low. But shit, rather than letting a shop stay vacant in the middle of town, boarded over and demoralizing everybody for a decade, even renting it for $200 a month for, a couple of 20-year-olds that have this interesting idea of, I don't know, sweaters for poodles or whatever the fuck. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. It's not like we don't have the places. It's not like there isn't the space to experiment. There needs to be more places for younger people to experiment and go find out. You can't hoard everything. You can't say, my toys. No one else is allowed to play with them. Not fair. Let go of it. Anyway, my chastising the boomer generation, and my generation too to some degree. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. This is probably way too long. No one's going to listen to it. Hi, Mom, again. Thank you for all 2.5 people on my YouTube channel, and have a wonderful Sunday.